What's good, people? What's up? What's up? It's me, L Teddy 27, and we're back. Review for. Let me get my hood together. This is our review for Queen Sugar, season 4, episode 6. All right, y'all. So let me start off by saying the musician in me. Okay, the musician in me pays so much attention to the music of any program that I watch. And they always do a phenomenal job with this show. In the past, they've had some of my favorites, like Raphael Sadiq, produced the music for episodes and things. This week, you know who they had the music, who music was by? One of the good ones, Michelle Ndegeocello. Love her. And the fact that, see, the great thing about music is when you have really good music, it's going to do one of two things. Either you're going to be talking about it a lot, or you're not going to talk about it. And it just it complements, it ends up complementing the cinema so well. It actually becomes so embedded in the cinematography that you just don't know it, but it actually enhances everything around it and what's going on. Loved it. So we start off with Octavia, Dr. Laurent, with Nova, and she's, infused herself on this book tour. And she's here for it. But there's definitely an ulterior motive here. So she's on the book tour with Nova. Nova gets a phone call saying that she's on the short list for a National Book Award, and she thinks this will help her family understand. No, it's not going to help them understand. Rather, it's going to forward this narrative that you have going in your brain that this was the right thing to do. I mean, it's just completely the wrong answer at this time. And then you got the professor who takes it upon herself to validate Nova and to let her know, dear God, this drink is so good today. So good, so good. Oh, dear Lord God. And that's the last thing Nova needs is validation on this being the right answer, because it's completely the wrong answer. Then we have Ralph Angel with Darla, and they're watching Blue in the Yard, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Blue has gone back to school yet. And Darla kind of throws out there, we need to talk about this, and we may not be the right people to talk about this. We definitely need to get professional help. Then we see Charlie with the councilwoman. I told y'all, for some reason, I do not trust this lady. And I could be totally wrong, and I could be looking at this all the wrong way, but I just don't trust her. I do not trust her. And until this season is over, and next season is over, and the season after that is over, then maybe I will start to trust her if nothing comes out about her. But I don't trust her as far as I could throw her. And she look big, and my little ass can't throw her nowhere. Anyway, moving on. Then we're at Charlie's campaign headquarters. Remember not 2 weeks ago when we had the episode, and they talked about this guy that was friends with Prosper, whose name was Leon, and he talked a little bit about his sister, whose name was Genevieve. Well, Genevieve is from a parish near their parish, and she comes, and she's at the headquarters, and you see this geriatric flirting, Lord God, going on between those two. It was kind of cute, but then it was kind of ill at the same time. And that, cause that was the funeral where Aunt Vi cooked all of the food for the repast and so forth. Then you got Raul Consuelo Jorge Jose, Enrique, who's there, and he asks Charlie, "Hey, are you ready for this? Because you're running for city, you're getting ready to run for city council, for the city council, and the Landrys are going to fight you tooth and nail, okay? Tooth and they're going to fight you to the bitter end." But I forgot to say that when Charlie was with the city councilwoman, she was signing all of the documents that she needed to run for office for the city council. So then we see Vi and Hollywood in bed. Vi is not feeling like her normal self. She's not performing like she normally does in the bed. And Hollywood is noticing it now. Because the way to get to a man and get him to really see something is wrong, you stop having sex and see, won't he quickly pick up on, oh bitch, what's wrong? Just saying. And so Hollywood has picked up on that. And although he already knew something was wrong, the fact that it has matriculated into problems in the bedroom, yeah, that is a problem for him. But he knows that there's a bigger issue here. Um, we'll see what goes with that. Nova, then we see Nova being interviewed. Now, this is where you start to see the first inclinations that the professor has her ulterior motives. And you start to see her in this interview try to, at some points, overtalk Nova, or take the lead or take command of the conversation. And you really get to see that she's trying to get her own come up off of Nova's success. Because she's old now, and she's, for lack of a better term, a has-been. She's the past, and they're looking to the future, which is Nova now. And that was her whole reason, as you can see, for coming on this book tour with Nova, so that she could, jumpstart or revive, reinvigorate her own career off of Nova's success. So then Nova goes, not Nova, Jesus. The next thing we have is the counseling session. You got Blue there, you got Darla there, and you got Ralph Angel there, okay? What I loved, this was my favorite scene of the entire episode. So you got this family who is going to seek help for their mental health. All of them need this, not just Blue. Sure, Blue and the situation surrounding Blue was the catalyst for this visit to the therapist and this seeking of help with regard to their mental health. It's needed for all of them. For Ralph Angel, as we can see, for Darla, and for Blue. And if you ask me, Blue is probably handling it the best of all three of them. Okay? I also want to spotlight that they took a point to point out that there was this family, and it's not a wealthy family. It's not a family that comes from a lot of money, but a family that knows that they need help, and they go seek this help. Because so many times you got people who don't like, if you are poor or you don't have a lot of money to spare, you may say, listen, I'll go to the doctor if my body is physically ill, but I ain't got the time, money, or anything to go see about my mental health and my brain. And I think that that's one of the issues that we have in our own community. And so I love the fact that they said, that they showcased this, that no, we're going to go see this. Go do this. I also love that the woman who was the therapist, I don't know if she was a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a social worker. I don't know what, because they really didn't go into that. But she was great. This was an example of black excellence in an area that you don't often see us portrayed in the full scope of what we can do. This was black excellence in the field of mental health and psychiatry or psychology, that whole genre. This was black excellence in that. The way that she handled Blue, as well as the exercises and the way that she dealt with Darla and Ralph Angel, was spot on. I loved this, loved it, and it was great to see. And I'm glad that they are putting this out there for more of us to see. It's so important when we do have shows that depict black families and do depict us seeing ourselves on camera, that it gives the example for how things should be. I will give you, and I know I'm going on a diatribe, but I'm gonna do it and take a quick moment. I remember that my first taste of what it meant to go to college as a young, little, small black boy came through watching black television when I watched The Cosby Show. And I watched the episode where they went back to Hillman, which ended up being like, I think it was Morehouse and Spelman. And you saw Phylicia Rashad singing with the choir. And they said it was Hillman College Choir, but it really was Spelman and Morehouse's choir. And she sang Seek Ye First the Kingdom of His Love, make Him first in everything you do. Anyway, my favorite episode by far, Phylicia Rashad sang that down. But my point is, watching that gave me my first depiction of blacks in higher education. And then shortly thereafter, you had a show like A Different World that also spotlighted black people in higher education. And that opened my eyes and exposed me to that as a young child. And so when you have shows like this that show black families and show us doing good things like going and seeking mental health and showing us in the good limelight and showing us in a good space, you see this mental health professional that is she was black excellence in that field, and I loved what she did, and I just love this moment, and I'm going to get off of it and so forth and so on. But this was my favorite scene in the whole episode. Moving on, let me quickly go through because I know I went off on a diatribe. Then we had but what she did was she had Darla and Ralph Angel when she let Blue go and play. She came back to Ralph Angel and Darla, and she told them, I want you all to write down the future that you see for yourself with Blue. The future you see for Blue with you. And I thought that was so great. We'll get back to that later. Vi then calls her doctor because she's now concerned about her troubles having sex in bed, and she thinks that maybe it's a byproduct of her lupus medication. I really feel like she knew it wasn't, but she needed to hear it from her doctor just, to help to appease her own mind. And the doctor tells her, listen, it's not your meds. Did you have any, events that might have affected you or been traumatic or been, and she was like, yeah, I did. And so now that lets her know, listen, this Jimmy Dale thing has threw me for a loop, and I can't get out of my own head with this. So then we got Nova and the prof. We'll call her the prof, Octavia professor. We'll call her the prof. They're in bed, and you see the prof giving her the validation, while the prof is a source of validation and strength and support that Nova needs. You see the prof digging her nails in and trying to separate Nova from her family and trying to get her to understand that, yeah, you don't really need your family. You kind of need, you got this on your own or whatever. Trying to keep her away from her family. And that was for her own selfish reasons. But Nova, you can see Nova is still longing for her family and to be back in that same space she used to be with her family. And that's just not happening. What I wrote down in my notes is when she said, would you and your sister be friends if you were not family? I don't know that I liked that question. Because that's not a fair question. You don't have a choice in who your family is, especially immediate family. You have no choice whatsoever. And many of us can probably attest to, had my brother or my sister not been my brother or my sister, I would want no parts of them. No parts. Many people can probably attest to, had it not been for the fact that you were forced to share the same space with these people, which means that you were forced to be around them all of the time, which builds an understanding of someone and builds tolerance of someone, and that helps foster a relationship. Left on your own and no blood, line at all, you probably would not. So I don't know that was a good question. I will say this. I find that in a lot, especially in the black community, you are closer sometimes to your cousins. If you have a big family, those of us who have big families, you tend to be closer to your cousins than you do to your own brothers and sisters. But, I mean, not that there aren't some brother-sister relationships that aren't really close, but I'm just saying. And I'm getting really long. Let me move on. So then we got the Micah and Kiki. Kiki comes to bring something. I think it was a book or something she was dropping off to Micah. And Micah says he's going to go visit their friend that's in jail. And he says he wants her to come. And Kiki was like, not right now. And you can see right now they're on the verge of breakup. And this is solely because Micah is not the same Micah that Kiki fell in love with. He's a whole different person. And so you can't expect that now that you're a different person, you're not the person that she fell in love with, that she's still going to love this new person when that's not what she signed up for. She didn't sign up for the new Micah. She signed up for the old Micah, because new Micah has started to show her shades of what she sees all of the time and has always seen, as opposed to the Micah that was, which was mostly stuff that she had not seen in the guys around her. But we'll see how that progresses. Then we got Hollywood and Ralph Angel. They have a conversation at Ralph Angel's house where Hollywood comes to drop off some stuff, and you can see Hollywood is concerned about him and Vi. He knows that this thing in the bedroom is like that. The final symptom of, okay, there's a real problem here. And so he kind of talks to Ralph Angel about that. Then we see Charlie, Enrique, Jorge, Consuelo, Raul at this party that was in his area or neighborhood, so to speak. And there's a lot of Hispanic people there, and this is a chance for Charlie to ingrace herself with the members of this community, the Hispanic community there. And so he tries to get her to meet one of the local pastor there, who's really big in the community and who everybody trusts. She goes over. Well, before that, Micah meets him. And when Micah meets him, Micah is happy for his mother. I can't help shake the feeling that this has a little to do with the relationship that he has with Kiki. And the fact that he feels that this relationship with him and Kiki is breaking. And so it's kind of good to see, okay, there's love somewhere around here. So he sees that twinkle in the eyes between his mom and Dude. And he likes it, and he kind of gives his seal of approval, his nod of approval, and he eventually leaves because he kind of sees that they want to have some quality time. And so he leaves. And so Charlie then goes over to talk to this pastor. Pastor doesn't trust her. He thinks she's a, the typical politician, a Johnny come lately. We ain't never seen you over here before. Now all of a sudden you want to come talk to me. Now all of a sudden you interested in what we got going on. Girl, we ain't here for you. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Nova and the professor are then at this party, and the professor now is in full scale, fuck shit mode. She is over here, trying to, take opportunities from Nova, and Nova overhears, her, at work trying to, steal the spotlight or garner opportunities for herself. And Nova's eyes are open to this. Next, we see Charlie and his Hispanic guys still at the party. They're dancing. They're all together. They're talking to each other. The sexy talk, the hot, wet breath talk in the ear, so forth and so on. And I feel like, and they're getting closer. And I think the fact that Micah was okay with it has now allowed Charlie to just say, you know what, I can do this with him. And Charlie and Consuelo, Enrique, Jorge, Raul, they end up having, since Micah is okay with it, it's on now. So they get it on. They have sex and all that good stuff. A good old roll in the hay. You know what I'm saying? She had a date with some uncut peen. Not that all Hispanic guys are uncut, but a good portion of most of them seem to be are. I've dealt with a lot of uncut peen. Hispanic guys, they have it. They also tend to be growers and not necessarily showers. And when they grow, they grow. Let me get back on track, y'all. Anyway, Nova's did at this bar. She goes to this bar. I think it's at the hotel. And the prof, that's what we're calling Cree Summers' character. She texts her because they're supposed to have a lunch date. Nova's having no parts of it. She's over it. She goes to the bar. Cute little black guy is the bartender. Real cute. And so he's there. He gives her a free drink. And there was a good drink. And, he flirts with her. He recommends, hey, you seem like you got a lot going on. There's a bar over, or a club or something. You can go get it down. And, Nova brushes them off. But real cute black guy. Real cute. Next scene we have is Darla, Ralph Angel, and Blue. They're at the house, and Blue seems to be getting back to himself a lot quicker. He seems to be processing this really well. But like I said, he's probably of the three handling this much better, the best out of all three of them. Because Darla's still in her head, Ralph Angel's still in his head, and Ralph Angel, I don't know that Ralph Angel has fully accepted this whole seeking help with our mental health or going to therapy thing, but he's just going along to get along at this point. But you see Blue is he kind of seems back to his normal self, but I can't help but think this is while he's with Ralph Angel and Darla, who's there to strengthen, support him, and make him feel comfortable. What happens when he gets back around other children who can be cruel and vicious and do not care? We'll see. Charlie then goes back to try to meet up with the pastor and see if she can't garner his support in what she's doing in this run for city councilman. She still hasn't officially announced yet, but you see her working already. He's still not here for her, and he tells her as much. But he says, listen, I don't know what we can do before the vote, but if you're willing to come and continue, even if you lose, to come here and work with us, I'm here for it. And that's how that ends. Hollywood, then we see Hollywood comes home. Hollywood done bought him a whole ass motorcycle, like he's having a midlife crisis. Vice says to him, listen, you ain't have to buy that. And Hollywood is like, listen, we need to talk. Something is up with you. We need to talk about it. And they sit down. She tells him, listen, Jimmy Dale coming back has brought feelings out in me that I thought we're dead a long time ago. I don't know how to deal. Da 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 da. I'm in my head. I can't handle it. I'm not in a good place. We need space. And Hollywood is taken aback. And I don't know whether, and y'all put down in the comments if we got this answer, but I don't know if Hollywood accepted that. I don't know if Hollywood was okay with it. I couldn't tell if he said, okay, I'm going to give you your space, or if he was like, hell nah. Because he said something to her, with regard to the marriage vows, hey, this is rich or poor, sickness and health, all of that good stuff. So I don't, it was hard for me to get a read on this particular scene and what came out of it. Then we got Nova and the prof, and they're back at the hotel. And you see Nova comes right out and say, "I see your bullshit, okay?" And they have this you know this collision course, as one would say. And Nova says, "Listen, I've outgrown you." And there's this back and forth, back and forth. For better or worse, Nova said, "Listen, I don't need you no more. This was a bad idea." Da 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 da. Professor said, "I made you. Da 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 da. You wouldn't be shit without me. You know who I am." And there's this mutual acceptance of, okay, I'll go my way, you go your way. But I wrote down when Nova says, "I've outgrown you," I kind of felt like, and I could be looking really deep into this, but think about this. She's saying she feels like she's not only outgrown the professor, I feel like she's saying she's also outgrown her family. Because we talked about this a couple episodes ago, how the professor was someone who could be someone to give her that strength and support that she would normally get from her family and that validation. And now, since the family couldn't give it to her, maybe the professor could, because they had that kind of a relationship. But she's even outgrown the professor. And I feel like she feels she's outgrown her family, because she feels like her family doesn't understand, and only she understands. And I don't think she's outgrown the professor or the family. I think she does need them. Now, do I think the professor ain't shit? Sure. But there are parts of that she needs as well, as much as she needs her family. But we'll see what happens with that. Then we go back to Charlie's campaign headquarters. We got more geriatric flirting. I will fast forward through that. I do not want to talk about Prosper and Genevieve flirting, dear God. Charlie's at the campaign headquarters, and she's talking to, Raul Consuelo Jose Enrique. And and then all of a sudden a brick comes through the glass window, and parts of the shards of glass cut Charlie on her neck. And he says, "Listen, this is what you got to go through. This is all about the Landrys and what they're going to put you through. And you know what? You need to fight. I'm here for it. You got to fight." And we know that's what Charlie does. She doesn't scare easy. She's here for the fight. Ralph Angel, we then see Ralph Angel is at home, and Blue is asleep. And Ralph Angel sits there and he watches Blue sleep. And that's what a father does. A father will sit there in the doorway and watch his child sleep, knowing that he's the protector, knowing that he's the father. And I think Ralph Angel has that moment with Blue where he can see, okay, I am his father, not just his dad. I am his father. And he goes and because he admitted to Hollywood earlier that he really didn't get into that whole exercise that the therapist gave them about writing down what you see for your future with Blue. And so you see him now, he's starting to do that exercise because he sees a future with Blue and him. And I don't think he did it immediately, because I think he still was in his head about, is there going to be a future with him and Blue? And so I liked that scene. Then after that, we see Nova. She's on her phone. She's calling Charlie. And she's trying to tell Charlie, hey, I'm proud of you. The fact that you're running, because I forgot to tell you, when she got interviewed by the guy told her that Charlie was running for city councilwoman. for the councilwoman position, and Nova didn't know. And so now, at the end of the episode, Nova goes and leaves a voice message with Charlie because she ain't answering. She don't want no parts of her. Probably got her blocked. And she leaves her this nice message. But at the end of that, you see she feels she's back to where she was. She's alone. The professor is gone. Octavia's gone. Her family's gone. And now she's alone again. And as much as people think they can exist alone, we as a species were not designed to live alone. But we'll see what happens with that. Finally, you got Charlie. She's at this at the announcement of her candidacy at the end of the episode. The councilwoman's there, and she thinks the councilwoman, I don't trust this whore at all. I told you I don't trust her. We'll see what happens. And the family is there. Hollywood is there. Vi is there. Ralph Angel's there. Micah's there. Vi and Hollywood were together. So this is why I said in that previous scene, I don't know that we got an answer to whether or not they are going to give each other space or they're going to stay together. We'll see. And that was the whole episode, y'all. It was a great episode again. Great writing, great everything. And I was here for it. Hope y'all like. Y'all know I love your comments. Please leave your comments. And I'm here. We'll check you out again next week. That's all I got. Peace, y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely.